I want to bring in CNN's Bill Weir. He's on the scene for us covering the Palisades fire, which is huge. He's joining us from Malibu right now out in California. Update our viewers on the very latest you're seeing and hearing, Bill.
Well, Wolf, this is the first glimpse really we're getting of what the Palisades fire did when it brought this blizzard of embers over the hillsides and down to the beach in the east side of Malibu here. We're near Big Rock, Las Tunas Beach, and look at this landscape. This is one of the most iconic dreaming drives in America, where it's sometimes hard to see the ocean for all the million-dollar mansions that are stacked next to each other. But for a 5-mile stretch here between Topanga and Carbon Canyons into eastern Malibu, I would guess maybe 75% of the homes have been turned to ash and twisted metal. You've got cars that are melted, the aluminum, spilling into these puddles on the ground. This particular home, only the fireplace remains here, and we've been watching crews from Kern County, it's another part of California, as the mutual aid kicks in, throwing water on what's left of these mansions over here. So they are apparently tapped into the water lines. So many questions about the water pressure around LA County, with so many crews tapping in. But obvious pressure here. But as we speak, we came down through Topanga Canyon. So much of it looks like a bombscape, a war zone. But the community of Topanga Canyon is up halfway up into the canyon, and there is a long line, a convoy of fire crews. We were there as helicopters were making drops. Locals are so relieved they're seeing these resources now. But we're careful not to blame firefighters, responders, any of the politicians. They told me they're doing the best they can given insane circumstances that even longtime locals could not imagine, saying these fire crews are doing heroic work up in these canyons. But it's a matter of resources and shifting around. And right now, Wolf, we're getting a reprieve from the winds. It's so calm, it's so nice, but there are these Santa Anas in the forecast for tonight, tomorrow, and then the strongest of the 3 nights on Monday. So fingers crossed.
All right, we'll continue to check in with Bill Weir, who's monitoring this situation along the Malibu coast over there, which at one point was one of the most beautiful areas out there in LA County. And look at it right now. Just look at those pictures of devastation and destruction. I want to turn now to another major fire that's raging out of control in Altadena, California. CNN's Kyung La is on the scene for us over there. Kyung, give us the latest details.
This is a different community than the one that Bill is in. This is really where a lot of families, working class and middle class families live. And, this is something we're seeing around the area, Wolf. This is what used to be, I'm familiar with this street. This is probably a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And that's all that's left. And behind it and around it, all of these homes. This is a community where I know a teacher who lives here, where there are people who moved here decades ago, hoping that they would retire here. But you, as I walk around here, because you got a sense of the terrain of where Bill is, you can see how flat it is. A lot of folks who move into communities like this one, it is a foothill community, but it's not in the mountains. The belief was, okay, they're moving into places that at one point in time felt safe, felt further away from that wildfire risk. And so what happened was that toxic mix of the strong winds, which is why we're focusing so much on the wind, and the fact that there was a tremendous amount of rain a couple of winters ago. And then this year, I do not remember the last time we had rain here in Los Angeles. And I've lived here just about a decade, and it's one of the drier seasons that we've had. And so you mix all of that together, and you have a wildfire that's simply out of control. It is much better today. You can actually start to see the sun. The sun is not, this is the brightest it's been since this whole disaster began. And so things are starting to improve. But what we're seeing here is that people are going to have to come back and figure out how to clean up after this, Wolf.
Yeah, the numbers are really incredible. We heard the fire chief say that 4,000 to 5,000 structures already have either been damaged or completely destroyed. And so many people, of course, have been evacuated. And so many people have been injured, and now there are reports of looting going on. Kyung La on the scene for us. Kyung, thank you very much. Stay safe, as I always say to you. I want to bring in CNN's Anderson Cooper. He's covering the latest blade, the Palisades fire east of Topanga. Anderson, give us the latest where you are.
Yeah, it's such a dynamic situation here, and we're on this vantage point looking over kind of a ridge of two ridges of mountains. We've been watching this fire. There have been two separate fires behind me. And you can see this one now has erupted again. They've already dropped over the last hour or hour and a half. They've dropped at least three helicopters have dropped water on that spot, and yet the fire keeps returning. They have not been able to put it out fully yet with water assets from the air. So that's now erupted. It also has erupted over here and burned the entire part of that mountainside. You probably can't see. Fire crews were on that road that was created by a bulldozer earlier, trying to create kind of a defensive position to stop the fire. It hasn't actually worked. They haven't been able to clear enough of the brush, so some of that brush has just been going up. This, to me, is just a microcosm of the difficulty the firefighters are facing in these conditions. The difference between 15 minutes ago here and right now, the only thing that changed was the direction of the wind. The wind shifted, and all of a sudden, this entire sort of valley area just erupted. It was extraordinary to see. It's now burned back down, but they're going to have to keep putting water out there. There's another crew, a couple guys are here who are going to be doing what they can to clear debris, to dig some lines. But it's the northern edge of this Palisades fire, and it is very, very difficult. And even behind us, there's a residential community, and that's what they're really trying to protect. And on the other side of that, there's an ongoing fire there as well. So it's just a sign, Wolf, of how tough the conditions are for firefighters.